Hi, I'm Dani from Practical Mommy Loves Luxury. This is my series of videos for new or expecting parents. Today I'm going to be talking about my baby carriers, and I have two with me. One of them is from BabyBjorn and the other one is from ErgoBaby. I'll be demonstrating how to put them on, and I'll also talk about other things like price, and I'll do a comparison between the two of them and also my personal opinion about the baby carriers. As you can tell from my thumbnail, I don't really use these carriers, and I have to say for most of it, it is not the fault of the carrier. It is my personal circumstance. It's just that I've seen lots of really glowing reviews of these carriers, but once I got them, I found that they weren't really required for my family. And perhaps if your circumstances are the same as mine, you may not really find a need for a carrier either. And I thought I would do this video to put my perspective out there. The volunteer that I have with me today is Olivia. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first baby carrier I'm going to talk about is from BabyBjorn. And in a minute, I'm going to cut away from the video to show you how it looks when it's put on, and I'll show you all its different parts. So the BabyBjorn one that I've got is the BJORN Carrier Mini Mesh. So this carrier can be used from birth to about the age of 15 months. It is suitable for babies weighing between 3.2 to 12 kilograms. I find this baby carrier really easy to put on, especially because it comes in two parts. You will put the shoulder straps over your shoulders, and then you would clip the bottom portion of the carrier to the shoulder straps. And these are clearly indicated left and right. After that, you place the baby into the carrier, and then you would hook them in like so. In order to release, you'd first support the weight of the baby, and then you would push against these clips to unlock it, and you would unhook the clips. Alternatively, you can also lie the baby down on a bench or on a bed to take them out. I did use the latter method sometimes when my daughter was asleep because I found that that was less likely to wake her up. There are also various indicators on this carrier to guide you on how to adjust it to the size of your baby. The shoulder straps cross at the back, and you can also adjust the length of the straps according to your height. So I would adjust the whole carrier so that my baby was close enough to kiss. Now I'm a short person, I'm only 5'1" or about 152 centimeters. Because I'm a short person, I had to shorten the straps significantly, and I ended up with a lot of excess strap length. Unfortunately, one of the disadvantages of the BabyBjorn carrier that I've got here is that it does not have elastic loops to secure the straps. So when I adjust it so that it's suitable for my height, I have these two really long straps just flapping around. And you'll see later on, the ErgoBaby has elastic loops to secure all these excess straps. I really like this carrier because it is made of a soft 3D mesh. So on hot summer days, it's not going to get as hot. From the age of 5 months, the baby can be turned to be facing away from the parent or facing outward. And so that the baby's face is not covered, you would fold down this panel in front. The BJORN Carrier Mini Mesh cannot be used for back carrying, which means it can't be used like a backpack. But BabyBjorn does make other models that have this function. They would be the Baby Carrier 1 and the Baby Carrier Air 1. If you ask me, I think this baby carrier is pretty good looking, and I think it's really sturdy. I found it really easy to use. It is acknowledged as a hip healthy product by the International Hip Dysplasia Institute. So if you're wondering what that means, a baby's overall development is influenced by environmental factors or external stimuli. And this includes the development of the hips. So this was what I was told in hospital. In the past, the baby's legs used to be swaddled really tight as well. However, over many years, studies have demonstrated that when the legs are swaddled really tight, that can impact on the development of the hips. And therefore nowadays, when babies are swaddled, their legs are not wrapped up really tight anymore. So I understand that when a product is deemed hip healthy, it should not be negatively impacting the development and growth of the baby's hips. It is machine washable, which is one of my favorite features. If you watch my channel, you know I like to wash things using the washing machine. And because it is made of mesh, when it is hung out to dry, it dries really quickly as well. Moving on to the next carrier, which is the ErgoBaby Omni 360 Cool Air Mesh Baby Carrier. This carrier can be used from the age of 1 week to 3 years. Its weight range is 3.2 to 20 kilograms. It is very versatile, and as the name suggests, you can carry your baby in many different positions, and I'll show you what they are. The first thing to do is to pay attention to the Velcro attachments on the inside of the lumbar support. You need to adjust that to the height of your baby. And once you've done that, you can put on the lumbar support. And this technique that I use, I do so because I'm able to do it without the assistance of anyone else. So I would secure the straps first and then loop my arms and my head through the carrier and tighten the straps as required. If I had help, I would undo the buckle, put the straps on, and then get someone to help me buckle it up. I understand that the shoulder straps can be crossed over at the back, and I don't wear it this way because it's harder to take off when I'm on my own. So the first way you can carry your baby in this is front carry facing parents. So the baby is in front of you and the baby is facing you. This is often the position that's used for newborns, and I understand that some mothers even breastfeed while their babies are in this position. And it also comes with this hood for privacy if you're breastfeeding or to minimize external stimulation when the baby is sleeping in the carrier. The second way you can carry the baby in this carrier is front carry facing outwards. So the baby is in front of you, but they're facing the world. And this can be done from about the age of 5 months. And it's great when they're really curious and they want to see what's going on. The next position is hip carrying. So kind of like wearing a crossbody bag. I've not personally done this myself, but I can see how it may be useful if you need to just move your baby out of the way a little bit to get a few things done with one hand. And the very last position is back carry, or carrying your baby on the back. And that can be done from the age of 6 months. There are also these panels that you slide inwards or outwards depending on which direction you're carrying your baby. So if your baby is facing outwards, you would slide the panels inwards in order to give your baby's legs a bit more room, and vice versa. And just like the BabyBjorn carrier, this Ergo Baby carrier is also acknowledged as a hip healthy product by the International Hip Dysplasia Institute. This Ergo Baby carrier also comes with a detachable storage pouch, which I did find really handy for keeping things like my phone and my keys. I'm aware that not all of these carriers have a pouch, so if you really want to make sure that your carrier has a pouch, do check that it does before you purchase it. And just like the last carrier I talked about, this Ergo Baby carrier is also made mostly of mesh, and therefore it is also very breathable, especially in summer. This carrier is also machine washable. This Ergo Baby carrier also now comes in many different colors, and I wish some of these were available when I was shopping for one. It retails for 349 Australian dollars. Every once in a while the website does go on sale, so if you're not in a hurry to buy one, I would suggest that you wait for a sale. Now, comparing the two carriers, in terms of their similarity, they both are made of mesh, so they allow really good ventilation. And for that reason, I have preferenced this style of baby carriers over the wrap ones, and I understand that it can get quite hot in those carriers. I guess that's a good thing if you live somewhere really cold, but a carrier like that is probably not going to be so versatile for someone living in Adelaide where we can get really hot summers. So hopefully you appreciated from my demonstration that the Ergo Baby is a little bit more complex to put on compared to the BabyBjorn. I do find that there's just a few more components to deal with. As I said so earlier, the Ergo Baby does come with these elastic loops so that you can roll up any excess strap length and secure them. Between the two, the Ergo Baby carrier has a longer lifespan, and that's because they can carry weights of up to 20 kilos. However, there is a significant price difference in both of them, and is that justified? I think that's really hard to guess at the outset, because it does really depend on how quickly your baby grows. So my daughter is almost 3 years old, and she's not even anywhere near 20 kilos. When she started walking independently, she was probably about 10 or 11 kilos. The BabyBjorn carrier, which can carry up to 12 kilograms, that would have been enough for the entire duration that she needed to be carried. However, if your baby grows faster, then they might outgrow the BabyBjorn quite quickly. So in terms of my opinion about carriers, I think carriers certainly have their place. There are lots of parents who would carry their babies in the carriers all day. And this will enable them to do all sorts of stuff around the house. You know, some mums I've seen have their babies in the carriers. They can do dishes, fold laundry, and so on and so forth. And one of my friends have said that she's found it really handy for when she goes shopping. So her baby would go in the carrier and the nappy bag would go in the pram. And that's how she would get around. I think it definitely also has a place if you do a lot of travel. If you're a family that travels a lot and you're not necessarily the lightest packers, there's often more baggage as well for the baby because you might want to bring your pram along. Some people will bring a portable cot. Some people will travel with a car seat as well. For our little family, it was my husband, myself, and my daughter. And while I could push her in the pram, we actually had 2 trolleys of luggages and my husband had to manage that by himself. And I later on learned from a friend that that's when the carrier would come in really handy. I didn't bring my carrier that trip, so I did not use it. But you would put the baby in the carrier and then mom can push one trolley and dad can push the other trolley. As to the reasons why I haven't found these carriers useful, there are several reasons. One big factor was that my baby didn't like sitting in it. She preferred to be carried. And the next thing was because there is a huge height discrepancy between my husband and myself. I'm 5'1", he's 6'1". And when we used our carriers, we had to adjust the straps a lot to suit our heights. So it made it really fiddly every time we wanted to use the carrier. The other big issue that I found, because I'm not a very tall person, kitchen bench tops come quite high against my trunk. I should also say that my arms are really short. So if I want to do anything on a kitchen bench top, my baby was in the way. She was constantly hitting the bench top. I remember finding it difficult even to wash my hands because she was really in the way. I had to turn on the tap, grab soap in one hand, turn away from the kitchen sink, rub my hands together, and turn back and wash one hand at a time under the tap. So unlike a lot of parents, I felt that there wasn't much that I could do once my baby was in front of me. Also, I've heard of babies suffocating in these carriers when they were asleep in them. So I was paranoid for that reason as well, and I never got into the habit of using the baby carrier when she was very young. So why did I buy a second one? I ask myself that sometimes. But alas, due to the raving reviews of these baby carriers, I think I was influenced into thinking that I would be able to get these carriers to fit into my life somehow, and they would improve my quality of life and my function. And I was tantalized by the Ergo Baby carrier for a number of reasons. I liked that there was so much back support because I'm someone who's always concerned about getting a back injury from lifting a baby constantly. I was also very seduced by the fact that I could carry the baby as a backpack, and I thought, you know, when I travel, that's something that I could potentially do. As I said earlier on already, my baby didn't really like being in the carriers, and although I thought I could train her into it, I think I kind of left it too late. And eventually she started walking, so. And there you have it. Those are the reasons why I don't use my baby carriers that much. And as I said at the start of the video already, I do not think it is the fault of the baby carriers. I think it is my personal circumstance. And if you are similar, you might want to be aware that you might encounter the same problems as me. And you may not find that the baby carriers are that useful. I don't know. So my next video is going to be on developmental techniques, and I think I'll be talking about Montessori and schemas. So to make sure you don't miss that video, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you'll be informed when that video comes up. In the meantime, feel free to enjoy the videos on screen. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!